Well, I'm going tomorrow to do a lek. So it's my first lek of the season. And yeah, I never get tired of doing them. They're like, I always say to people, they're like the best natural spectacle, I think, in Britain. Apart from maybe Capercaillie. That would be very cool. But yeah, I never get sick of going to them. So tomorrow I'm going. And I thought I would just go through what I take, which is not a lot actually, because I've pretty much fine-tuned what I take with me. The first year I went, I took like a backpack and 2 cameras and 3 different lenses and all sorts of stuff. And you learn pretty quickly when you're in a really small hide, usually with another photographer, that you basically need one camera. So my one camera is this setup. So you've probably seen it before in some of my other videos, but my 200 to 400 lens, which is my baby. I absolutely love it. I use it for pretty much all of my photography. I've had it for a couple of years now and I just love it. I don't have any complaints about it at all. So yeah, it's 200 to 400. Then it also has a magnifier, which is 1.4, so it obviously takes it to like 540. And yeah, it's just a fantastic lens. And especially for a lek, I used to use like a set prime lens, but for a lek, the birds obviously move around and get super close to you as well. So this gives you the opportunity to be able to zoom in and out, you know, change the perspective of your pictures and things. So I absolutely love that. And then my new camera, which I did a video about, but I've not posted it because I ended up going on a very last minute work trip. So this is my new camera, the Canon R3. I did all kinds of research on all of the cameras and the cameras that they're bringing out, because they're obviously going to bring out an R5 Mark II this year. But yeah, I feel like with the camera world, they try and cram as much as they can into a camera to impress you, but in the reality of working with thousands of images, whenever you work with images, so for example on my work trip I took 7,000 images at least, the R5 is meant to give you like 60 megapixel images. That's a big image. That's a big bit of memory. So when you're traveling with like my little travel hard drive, which is 2 terabytes, I don't need 60 megapixel images. And also, how often do you blow your images up big enough that you need 60 megapixels? Not very often. So for me, it just feels like overkill. Also, they are putting, I think it's 8K video. People don't even have 4K TVs. Overkill. So by the time I looked into that and weighed it all up, I just thought they always have to troubleshoot a load of problems anyway when they bring out a new camera. So they brought out like the Canon 1DX Mark III and their file sizes were so massive. You couldn't preview them and they were just ridiculously slow to get into your laptop and into your like Photoshop or Lightroom. So it took them a couple of months to sort that out and software update it. So I decided to go for the R3 because it had very good reviews and very good reviews on video as well. Which I have to say I'm very pleasantly surprised by it. I obviously took it with me on this saltwater trip that I was just on, used it for the full week. It was great, didn't have any problems with it. My favourite thing is when I'm videoing, so obviously it's very bright when you're looking at this screen where I was. So you can switch the viewfinder between the screen and looking through. So for video I could look through, obviously darkens it and then you can see properly what you're filming. So I really like that feature. So yeah, that is my camera setup of what I'm taking. That's the only camera I'm taking. So I need to make sure it's charged and cards formatted and everything. But I would say this is like the perfect setup. And then my next thing is obviously my tripod. So I have a Gitzo tripod. They're the only ones that I have. I have this one, then a smaller travel one. So obviously I need to put that on my camera. And then a movie head, which once you loosen it all off is very smooth to use. So I'm going to do some video as well because my next Scribehound article is due a little bit late actually. I'm a little bit late on it, but I messaged and said I'm going to do a lek. So that is what I'm going to do tomorrow and do a bit of filming and then obviously put it on YouTube and then link it into my article. My next recommendation, which is highly recommended. Go to bed. I've got a jacket, so both of my dogs are like, we're clearly going out. This is a D-robe, which I've told so many people about this and they always ignore me and then they're always cold. So this is a small, to be fair, so it is huge on me, and I mean it covers like all the way down to my knees, so it is massive. And then obviously, but imagine being sat in a hide at 4 in the morning with this on. You're not going to be cold, and it covers your legs. I think the biggest thing is you can wear loads of jackets, which is fine, but when you're in a hide and it's like 5 degrees at 4 in the morning and dark, and obviously the hide's usually really condensed and damp, this covers your legs, and that makes such a big difference. So I would highly, highly recommend these. I feel like they've gone crazy lately on TikTok and everything, because there's also like Equa Dry or Equa robes, which is like equestrian versions of these. But yeah, I've had this one for probably 2 years now, and they obviously have multiple pockets everywhere in case you need them on the outside as well. They're 100% waterproof, 100% windproof, like they're just amazing. And I also use mine in the shooting season. I mean, if it's a super wet day, you can obviously just wear it, but I tend to leave mine in the car, so at the end of the day, when I'm freezing cold, I can just wrap myself up in this and then drive home in it, because it's super, super warm and it warms you up. But otherwise, that is pretty much all I will take. And obviously a big Yeti flask of tea or coffee, because you need that at 4 in the morning. But I'm going to go and check the hide out today. I have a Tragapan hide, which I really like, and it's like made for photographers, so just everything is perfect with it. It has places for like your tripod legs to go out so that you can get your tripod in the right place and everything. So I'm going to go and check the hide that's already up, because there is one up where I'm going, and see what it's like basically, and whether it's got enough space in it for everything that I need. And if not, I'll probably put my hide up because I know my hide, and yeah, I like the space that it gives you while you're photographing. So that is my plan, and if I do go put my hide up, I'll obviously film that as well and talk about it. The only other piece of equipment actually is what I'm filming on right now, which is the DJI Osmo Pocket 3. It's probably the camera that I get the most questions on, because they're about this big and skinny, and it has like a little screen so you can see what you're filming, and it's so easy to use. So I would highly recommend one of those if you're doing any kind of filming. It also comes in like a creator bundle where you get an extra battery charger that like clicks into it, a microphone, a little tripod that screws into the bottom, and then little accessories like a wide angle lens attachment and things like that. So that'll be my other piece of equipment, which I will take some film of with my phone. One good thing about these hides is you can pretty much customize them to what you like. So there's different attachments for your cameras. So there's one that's just a hole, which is the one I use the most, so you can put your lens straight out there. There's another one which is like extended netting, so you can put this over your lens and then tighten it on the end of your lens so it's more camouflaged. And then there's also these ones, but I find these really difficult because you can't see, you can only see through your camera, whereas this lets you see what is going on. And then also you can add a roof onto these, but if you don't want to, then obviously you've got a bit more light and you can kind of check what's going on, which makes it a bit easier. So the plan in the morning is you get up at about 4, because it takes me about 20 minutes to get across here, and obviously you have to wake up a little bit, and then walk across with my tripod and my camera. It'll still be dark, so just bring a head torch with me, and then you get in and you basically just have to sit and wait. And I think the most special part of the whole lek is you're sat in complete darkness, and all you can hear, I'll try and film it in the morning, is like it's like a little rumble sound that the grouse make when they're lecking, and that's all you can hear, and it's pitch black. And then as it gets lighter, you start to see the whites of their tails and the silhouettes, and it's just incredible. So this is the view in the morning, which looks like absolutely nothing, but in the morning this will be covered in black grouse. I think they've had up to 40 males here, and the gamekeeper is very good because he strims some of the longer bits of grass so that they don't get in the way of your photographs, because it's very frustrating when your camera's focused on a piece of grass instead of the actual bird. So one of the reasons this lek is doing so well, and they have the amount of birds here, is because it is on a grouse estate. As I talk about all the time, you know, there is obviously predator control, and when this estate was taken over, I don't think they had that many birds. Sorry, I'm just watching another bird. I think it's a curlew, yep. And slowly they just looked after the land, monitored them, watched them, you know, they try and increase the amount of food that they have to eat. They make sure that no one walks across here with their dogs off leads and things during nesting season, because grey hens are particularly flighty. So whereas a female grouse will leave her chicks to distract you, a grey hen will just leave her chicks. They're very flighty, and they're known for just abandoning their chicks no matter what, and they won't come back. So yeah, a big thing is just controlling how much this bit of land is disturbed, because they know that there is a certain amount. I think last year I had 14 grey hens on one lek, which is incredible. I've never known that number. So yeah, a lot of it is just controlling what people do on this land and trying to kind of minimise disturbance. Well, it is 4 in the morning, so my doggies get a quick pee, and then good girl, go on. And then I'm going to make a cup of tea and get going. I don't think I slept at all actually, because I knew I had to get up, so. Past 5 in the morning, but the sun hasn't come over the hill yet, so it's still a bit dark to be able to do anything, so you just gotta sit and wait. So I thought I should get some education into this video. So one of the reasons these birds are so endangered and they're red listed is simply habitat loss is a massive factor. Anywhere that's not predator controlled, these birds are very easily predated. Not necessarily the adults, but as I said, the grey hens with the chicks. You know, if they have a brood of 10 plus chicks, they're pretty easy snacks for most predators. And we have, as a human race, pushed all the predators into small pockets. So obviously then you have to manage them so that they can sustain themselves anyway, otherwise they'll just eat everything and die out. And they are also very delicate in terms of disturbance. As I mentioned yesterday, grey hens are very good at deserting their nests and their chicks, whereas other birds such as grouse, curlew, lapwing, oystercatchers, they'll all come back to their nests and come back to their chicks. So that's 2 of the reasons that they're red listed. Another reason is obviously these sites themselves. So the Lekking sites, you know, once one of these sites is turned into a housing estate, you're not going to get the birds back anymore. And they actually say, I've just noticed wonky tail. There's a bird here called wonky tail because his tail is obviously off to one side, and he's right in front of me right now. So he's been here for probably the past 3 or 4 years. But yeah, estates like these have actually done so well managing their land and looking after these birds that this lek used to have about 40 males on, and they've now split off into individual leks. So I think he's got 3 or 4 leks, if not more, where younger males have decided to kind of split off and find other sites. So he's now got multiple places. Swing now, so we've already had a grey hen visit, which I didn't think one would because it's quite early in the season for them lecking, and we've got amazing light, which is so lucky. The cloud seems to have cleared out a bit, and yeah, it's a really nice sunrise. I realised I didn't show before. This is the setup. It's almost like a tap dance. They like run at each other and they're like, oh yeah, we need to fight, and then they're like, oh no, actually maybe we shouldn't, and then one of them will be like, nope, maybe we should, and they're like, no, maybe we shouldn't. And they just like egg each other on, and then they're like, nah, we'll not do it. And then a grey hen comes in, and then they're all hell breaks loose. walking back to the car. What a morning. I'm not a morning person, but after being at a lek, it's just an incredible morning and you just can't beat it. And we also had a short-eared owl fly by right at the end, so I got some nice footage of that flying. Some little meadow pipits eating in amongst the lek, and yeah, it's so nice. And all you can hear right now is pipits and skylarks and curlew and everything just shouting its head off, so you can't beat it.